Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on what part of the world you are in. Welcome to the Chicken Box. Yes, it's Thursday again. The Lord let you see another Thursday, so let's smile. Remember that gets you whatever endorphins, whatever things flow, make you feel good if you've been sitting in front of the computer or just working with people that you don't like. It's time to smile. If you're thinking about lunch, think about it. Order it. Go get it and get ready for this week's Chicken Box. Yes, it is Black people versus the CBCF. And you probably are like, what in the world are you talking about? Unless you know, because you probably might know, and then you might not know. It's Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, which we'll get into a little later. I'm Kevin Impeccable Peck, your co-host, Dr. Draper. How are you? And I represent Gen X. I mean, we are multi-generational show here on the Chicken Box. Dr. Draper, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Impeccable. Hi, Courtney. How are you? Welcome to our Chicken Box viewers by way of Facebook, or should I say Meta. We always are happy when this time comes, Thursday, just to see your smiling faces. And so we pray that you will weigh in on the chat. Let us know that you're here. Our guests are so exciting today. You don't want to miss this. So come on and share it. Let folk know that the Chicken Box has started.
Courtney, Gen Zer, how are you? All the way from the Shy.
Oh, yes. and I'm representing the boomer. I'm a boomer millennial.
She's a hybrid, y'all.
Maybe I'm a millennial boomer. That's it. Okay. All right, Courtney.
I am doing well. I'm blessed to be here. It's a sunny day. I am representing Gen Z. I have something to say about Gen Z. You know, we're fun, innovative, cool, but all the generations. It's so cool that we're representing like different generations on here.
Absolutely. You know, funny thing you said cool, right? You ever text a person back and just say cool or okay? So today I meant to say cool, but I said look. And I know it's probably crazy, but this is the first day I ever said, look and cool are the same word, but just spelled backwards. I don't know if anybody else ever caught that. Anyway, that's just a crazy fact. So look cool, y'all. That's my new saying for the day. Just look cool. But look, let's get right into it. If you've never heard of the Chicken Box before, and you're not in the Baltimore area, because if you are in this Baltimore DMV area, you have had these 4 wings, these fries, this little cardboard box where the chicken gets nice and greasy, and you got to put salt and pepper and ketchup and sometimes hot sauce on it, and it just hits the spot at what your drink of choice, whether it's a half and half or some people still drink soda, and you just love it. And I'm getting hungry now. But if not, this is a place where it's powered by the Afro-American newspaper, y'all. 130 years. We just celebrated, and we're celebrating all year long. We are the oldest Black business in Maryland, the 3rd oldest Black business. We celebrate these kind of things. Black excellence is our mantra, and we power the Chicken Box. And this is where we inform, inspire, educate, and you get on the box and you get to speak your truth. We don't have to agree with you, but this is the place where you can get on your platform and speak. Now, back to it. Black people versus the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. They simplified and called it CBCF, and it's coming up soon. But we have a special guest. Courtney, why don't you welcome our special guest to the Chicken Box? I need some I need some music produced. I need something like the drum roll or something when people come on. Welcome, Nicole, Austin-Hillery, to the Chicken Box.
Thank you, Impeccable. Pleasure to be here with you all.
Look,
I said pleasure to be in the Chicken Box. I love it. I've eaten it, but never been in it. So this is wonderful.
and later you can stand on it. You turn it over after you eat, and then you just get up and you talk about what you want to eat. I think everybody should be vaccinated. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, Courtney, introduce our special guest. Let's get right into this conversation. Welcome everybody who's tuning in. Larry Byron, just put where you're from and how you doing today.
Hi, Nicole. Thank you for joining us. Nicole is the president and CEO of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, and that's also known as CBCF. In this role, she will lead and inspire a team of high-performing leaders and staff as they create and implement plans to carry out the organization's mission and achieve strategic goals. Also, prior to joining CBCF, she also led Human Rights Watch's efforts to end violations and abusive systems within the United States. And her work focused on addressing and combating systemic issues, improving the U.S. immigration system, tackling rights problems within the domestic criminal justice system. And she's also an advocate for policies that address poverty and inequality informed by international human rights standards.
Welcome.
Wow, Courtney, you didn't have to read all that. Every time I hear that stuff, I'm like, who is that?
Listen, we just see here on the Chicken Box. We're gonna give you some flowers because sometimes our outstanding, remarkable, amazing leaders don't get what they need from the other press. They only get grief. So we're gonna give you a little praise, and then we're gonna get started into this conversation. Why don't you just give us, like, if we just met you and you said you were the president and CEO of the CBCF, what would you say to us if we said, well, what is that? What do you do?
The CBCF is the nation's premier foundation, started in 1976 by the few Black members of Congress that we had in 1976. And it was started to do three things: to provide a leadership pipeline for Black America, to ensure that we had leaders for the future, that we were molding and shaping within our own community. And it was also started to serve as an educational engine for Black America, to work on research around the policies and issues that impact our community. So we were started, if you will, to be somewhat of a think tank for Black America. And that is who the CBCF still is. We are true to that mission. Our mission says that our focus is to empower the global Black community. And that's what we do. We want to educate, we want to provide resources and information, and we want to prepare our young leaders to take over and run this country and, in fact, the world, and provide a pipeline for them to do so. That's who we are.
Boom. Welcome to the Chicken Box. If you just tuned in, this is Black People versus the CBCF. I know I'm going to, so I'm going to say that fast 3 times. I'm going to mess it up. But I think I'm going to get it right. You know what? Sometimes you can put in your mind that you're going to mess something up and then you end up messing it up. I'm going to get it right for the whole day, Courtney. I'm just going to put that mindset into place as we get this think tank going. Dr. Draper, you have been going to this CBCF since. This is a quick thing, Nicole. Everybody else don't listen. Dr. Draper is my mother. So for years, she used to go to something in DC called the Congressional Black Caucus. And the word caucus as a teenager is enough to think that it is like a class that you don't want to go to. So nobody wants to go to a caucus. And so I was like, yes, please go so I can have the house to myself. But Dr. Draper, tell me about your experience and just how you came,
Well, it was really billed as the legislative, the Congressional Black Caucus's legislative weekend, because the foundation
is actually called the Annual Legislative Conference. Thank you, Dr. Draper.
Right.
The ALC.
Break it down.
That's how it started, right? And so it was an opportunity for African Americans from around the globe, really, but from around the country, to converge upon and convene in Washington, D.C., to really hear from thought leaders as well as our elected officials, the things that were really at the top of their list that they wanted to make sure we knew about, but also could support and rally around. And as Nicole, I hope you don't mind me calling you Nicole.
Absolutely, please do.
So as Nicole would say, you could count on 2 hands the number of representatives, because they were not senators, the number of representatives from around the country, and they would come together to say, let us engage the Black community about the issues that are important to us here on Capitol Hill. So they would have forums, and they still do that today. I'm gonna have Nicole tell us about it. So it started off, you went to the forum and you heard from the legislators, and of course, we cannot gather anywhere, much less DC, without having a lot of social interaction. And so the Saturday night dinner or the Friday receptions or Thursday receptions, I think it now starts, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and some people spill over to Sunday, both in the official place as well as all around DC. It was and still is the place to be. I'm excited because this is the first time, Nicole, that you're back in person.
It is since the start of the pandemic. First time we're back in person. So everyone, as you know, everyone is itching to be there. People are super excited because we are back together in person. We've had virtual ALC, so we've never stopped. We had virtual ones in 2020 and 2021, but this is the first time we're back in person.
So this is
and that's wonderful. I have my credentials. I have my access. The Afro will have a book. So it's, if you've never been to a Congressional Black Caucus legislative weekend, extended weekend, Nicole's going to tell you how to register and some of the things that we can expect, but it is action packed, something for everybody. And there's some people that just come, Nicole, and just hang out in the hotel lobbies, hoping to see some of the members. That's what they used to do.
Is that the story you sticking with, to see some of the members? Okay, I'm gonna let that go.
To see their representative in that kind of space where they didn't have to go on Capitol Hill and go through a whole lot of staff and just try to make an appointment. They would just wait to see John Conyers in the lobby of the hotel, right? Just for an example.
Exactly. Well, let me tell you, I love that you know that history. I feel like you should be on our staff, Dr. Draper.
Okay. But we can talk.
But I want to tell folks a couple things, because that was a wonderful historical analysis of what the ALC has always been. But I want folks to know how we have grown. And Dr. Draper, you will remember this. I was sharing with a member of my staff that when I first started going to the ALC, back when I had just finished college, we used to have the brain trusts and the sessions, which are what we call the actual substantive discussions that we hold. So it is a mix of, we have over 100 brain trusts and sessions. These are focused on substantive issues of concern to the Black community. So we will have sessions on voting rights. We will have sessions on maternal health disparities for Black women, on poverty, on economic inequality, on housing, education, over 100. But when I first started going, Dr. Draper, you will remember the ALC used to be held in the halls of the Congressional office buildings. Yes. You remember that? Because I said to someone, my very first one, I remember Justice Thurgood Marshall walking down the hallway of the Rayburn House office building when I was a 20-something and had been to my first ALC. So I love the way you note, Dr. Draper, that it is an opportunity for people to just be right on par with their leaders in community. That's how I like to think of it, in community with one another, so that you can approach someone and talk to them about an issue of concern in your community, or talk to them about, what they're doing on Capitol Hill and the bills that they're introducing. And so that we have grown in that way, because now we're so big, we can no longer just hold ALC in the halls of Congress. We are at the Washington Convention Center, which is where we've now been for several years now. And we also, it's no longer just a weekend, which is how it started. We start on Wednesday. So we are starting on Wednesday, September 28th, going through Sunday, October 2nd. And I'm telling you, if you're not there on Wednesday, you're going to miss some stuff. Folks used to say, oh, I'll be there Saturday. The sessions, those brain trusts, they are starting bright and early on Wednesday. We have a packed Wednesday, a packed Thursday, a packed Friday. So if you don't get there early, you're going to miss some stuff.
So how do you get in these brain trusts?
If you go to cbcfinc.org, that's our website, cbcfinc.org, you will see a link to the annual legislative conference, and you just click on there. It will tell you how you register. It will tell you the schedule of all of the events. Now, mind you, Dr. Draper, you were right. We as a community, we work hard, but we also play hard. So what you will see on our website is all of our official events. So all of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation events. I've had some people call me up and say, well, Nicole, what about such and such? And I said, I can't speak for the other functions that some of our supporting organizations and brothers and sisters from around the country are holding. But if you go to our website, you will see all of our official brain trusts and all of our official events listed there.
And the other thing that used to happen, I don't know if it's happening this year, is that you would make a special effort to meet with the Black press. CBCF used to meet with the Black press to make sure that we were in sync with those issues that had been identified as those that we really wanted to bring to the top. And
Yes.
so I don't know if that briefing is still a part of the weekend. And I don't know if the Black press is part of the brain trust, because a lot of times, folk come to us and say, hey, we want to get the news out. We ought to be a part of the Black press. If it's not, I'm putting in the pitch for next time to be a part of the brain trust, to just talk about the value and importance of the Black press in this ever-changing media landscape. And so talk to us a little bit about some of the highlights. For some of us, it's the prayer breakfast, for example. Who's the speaker this year, and how's that playing out this year?
Well, let me first hold space for the very important words you just shared, Dr. Draper. The Black press is critically important. Look, when no one else was telling our stories, when no one else was providing an opportunity for our voices to be heard, it was the Black press. We all know that there's so many things historically that we would not know about were it not for the Black press. What would the Emmett Till story be were it not for the Black press? What would the Freedom Riders' journey have been without the Black press? So I want to underscore that and give a few snaps up because you're vitally important. Now, I will tell you, my vice president of marketing and communications, she has been doing an amazing job because I've been talking to everybody. Just like I'm talking to you all, we are prioritizing and making sure that, yes, we are talking to the Black press, because we know that our truth comes through the Black press. Now, let me say, in terms of the sessions, and this is really, I'm glad you brought that up, because it's important for people to understand how this works. So the foundation and the CBC, we are totally separate entities. So the foundation is a nonprofit 501c3, that's that tax term, y'all, 501c3 organization, and we are focused on developing leaders for the future, doing research around issues of concern to the Black community, and providing educational information for the Black community. That's what we focus on. The members of Congress, the CBC, they are elected officials. As everyone knows, they are legislators, they represent districts, they represent constituents, and they do that work. So we work together, in that the foundation was started as the brainchild of members of the CBC, but to serve as a wholly separate entity focused on those goals that I just articulated. And I don't do their work for them. They don't do my work for me, but we try to support one another and work together. So the majority of the brain trusts and sessions are those that the members create and put together. And that's how the annual legislative conference in its early days, that's how it was envisioned. It was envisioned to be a showcase for the legislative and policy work that the members are focused on for the Black community. So because of that, these are sessions that they develop, their staff develops, and they choose the panelists, they choose the topics that they want to work on. Now, I also, through my team, through the foundation, we have a set of panels and discussions that we hold as well, because we want to be able to highlight and showcase the research that we are doing. But the majority of those brain trusts and sessions come from the members. And we do make recommendations to them. So I'm taking your recommendation, Dr. Draper. But it is up to those individual members to decide what they want their panel discussion or their brain trust, if you will, to focus on. But we always want to hear from the community, and we want to know, what is it that folks want us to talk about during the annual legislative conference, so that we can try to make sure that we are meeting all those needs. Because as I said, we have over 100 of them, and we want to try to get to as many important issues as possible. Now, to your second question about highlights, there are so many important things to highlight, but I'll just name a few of them. Number one, we are having the National Town Hall discussion. The National Town Hall discussion is always a big event, because it is focused on what are the one or two key issue areas that we cannot, as Black leaders, fail to talk about in this particular year. And we all know we are in a critical moment in this country in 2022. We are dealing with, I just had a conversation with someone, and I said, we're dealing with all the isms racism, sexism, all the isms we are dealing with as a community right now. And we have to be serious and we have to be about the business. So the National Town Hall discussion this year is going to be focusing on the Black agenda. We're going to be looking back to Gary and what happened in Gary in terms of Black history. And we're going to be looking at how have we as a community moved forward? What are the issues we are facing now? We're also going to be talking about the ever important and crucial issue of voting rights. We can't talk about voting rights enough. You know, I spent years in my career working on voting rights issues when I was the director and counsel of the Brennan Center for Justice's Washington office. You all know our community is under attack. We are under attack ever since the Shelby County decision came out in 2013 and the Supreme Court struck down a part of the Voting Rights Act. We have been under attack. So we can't talk about this enough and what our communities need to do to be strengthened and ensure we have the right to vote protected. So that's what's going to be happening at the National Town Hall discussion and at our big voting rights plenary sessions that are taking place. The prayer breakfast and the Phoenix Awards dinner are the culmination of our ALC. They happen on Saturday morning and Saturday evening, respectively. Reverend Otis Moss is going to be the third, is going to be the pastor who's going to be bringing the word to us. And Sister Leandria, who everyone knows is an amazing gospel entertainer, she is going to entertain for us. And then Saturday night, we have our big black tie Phoenix Awards dinner, where even though we're all going to look pretty and all that, what we're coming together for is not to look pretty, but we're coming together to honor our own. And so we're going to be giving out Phoenix Awards to those individuals. Dr. Dyson, Michael Eric Dyson is going to be one of our honorees, for example, this year. We are trying to recognize, and what we do every year, Black excellence. Because as you said, Impeccable, we got to give our folks their roses, okay? Even when other folks are not only not recognizing our community, but are criticizing our community for speaking truth to power, for being the social justice warriors that we need them to be. We know that they're doing the right thing. We know that they're doing work that is critically important for our communities. And so we are going to honor them. So that's how the Saturday will look. But look, I want people to come out and take part in everything in between. We're also going to have the chair's reception. The chair of our Congressional Black Caucus Foundation board is Congresswoman Terry Sewell from Alabama. She is having a large reception, and it is open to everyone who is registered to attend the ALC. We want folks to be there. We want folks to meet, and the members will be there. So we just want folks to come out and be in community with us and be about the business. As I said, I was meeting with the members yesterday, and I said, we're going to show up and show out because we don't have time to waste. We don't have time to waste in terms of protecting and empowering and strengthening our Black community.
If you just tuned in, this is The Chicken Box, powered by the Afro-American newspaper. We are speaking with Nicole Austin-Hillery, the president and CEO of the CBCF, Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, and she is sharing and dropping those gems with us. If you're just tuning in and you're in that DC DMV area, how much is it to register?
If you go online to register, it is a minimal amount. It's I think, and don't quote me, but it's around $100. So it's not a lot.
For the whole weekend. For the whole week.
For the whole weekend. And you get access to all of those over 100 sessions. You get access to the opening reception. You get access to the chair's reception. And there are other things that you will have access to. So you get access to what I like to call the substance and the fun, which we have to mix. And we know, isn't that a part of our history of our country? Look, of our people in this country. We work hard. But that's how we sustained ourselves. We sustained ourselves by working hard, but then also making sure we were coming together in community, enjoying ourselves together, because that was part of our survival technique.
Absolutely. It's going to be, it's the best $100. If you're in the networking, which you got to be, you don't know who is in these rooms, where, at what reception, at what hallway, at what, like you said, hotel lobby. Like DC is going to be so lit. It's going to be so on fire, you guys. I've been coming for a lot of years, and a lot of years I can't get there. I haven't been there probably in 5 to 10 years, but I remember it was a time I had to go to Georgetown, and I had to find my CBC outfit, fellas. It had to be different coming from Baltimore. I didn't want to have anything else that somebody else had on. The parties were impeccable, right? If you're single, the ladies and the gentlemen are, you got some ballers, some bosses, so you got everything there, as well as the political agendas happening and shaping at the same time, but it's all in one space. I just remember the Chicago party. It was something about the businessmen from Chicago, and they did, Courtney, they did one of the most amazing parties back, the 100 Black Men. I mean, the Brothers of Cap Alpha Psi. I mean, everybody was doing something to commemorate this week, along with the $100. That's the best $100 spent if you're trying to network and you're in the DMV. If you're not in the DMV, get on the train, come from Philly, New York, wherever you got to come, and see actually where the policies and the decisions are being made, and help Craig Talia. Best $100 you ever spend, right?
Exactly. And look, we have virtual options available too, because one of the things we learned during COVID is that people, even though we couldn't be in person, people still were yearning for this information. And so we decided we've got to keep that. So people have virtual options available to them as well. So when you go to that website, cbcfinc.org, you will see those options. And let me also say this, because this is very important. We have seen throughout this pandemic that COVID has hit our communities in ways that other communities haven't been touched. It's serious for us. And we are still very cognizant of that and want to protect our community. So here's something I need everybody to know. If you come to the conference, if you register, you must be vaccinated. You must be. And what vaccination means for us is you have to have that initial vaccination and at least one booster. You don't have to have them all, because I think now we're on like the third booster. But you must be fully vaccinated and have at least one booster. That is for everyone. And again, that's our effort in recognition of the fact that this is not over. I know President Biden the other day was on 60 Minutes, and he said we're no longer in a pandemic, but people are still getting ill. People are still dying. And we would not be responsible stewards of the Black community if we did not do what we felt we needed to do to keep folks safe. And we're also going to strongly encourage folks to wear their masks, because we've been working with experts who have told us you're going to be bringing a lot of people together, but the best ways to keep them safe is to ensure that everybody in those rooms are vaccinated and encourage them to wear masks. Now, this is, again, for our official CBCF ALC events. We don't control what other organizations and other groups do who are hosting things and to be timely with our event. But in terms of our event, that's what you have to do. And let me also say this, Impeccable. I love the way that you're talking about the parties and how people have come together. But I want folks to know that this is about more than a party. This is really about how do we prepare for the future of Black America? How do we prepare and arm ourselves intellectually and socially and politically to protect our communities, to provide a level playing field for our communities, to provide resources for our communities? Because look, y'all, I've spent my whole career as a civil and human rights lawyer. When I talk to people around the country, what folks are talking to me about, we were in Detroit in March, having a community conversation on public safety. What people were talking to me about is, how do we keep our young brothers and sisters safe when we have a rage of guns in our communities? How do we ensure that Black women, when they are having babies, are safe in hospitals and that doctors are hearing them and listening to them, regardless of class? We've done research that shows it doesn't matter how much education you have or how much money you make. Black women are dealing with maternal health issues at record numbers in comparison to white women. So I want folks to come there and have their thinking caps on and be ready to be about the business of how we strengthen and take care of our community. But I want you to have fun doing it. I want you to enjoy yourselves. I want us to get to know each other, because that's also how we build community. We build community when we're at those parties, Impeccable, in our nice suits and dresses. And trust me, you can imagine as president and CEO, I'm like, okay, let me make sure that I'm not wearing anything next week that people have already seen.
Right. So you can't wear this because this is on the chicken one. You can't.
Yeah, y'all
wear this vibrant.
Y'all
I don't even know what color is it. What ladies? What color would you say this is?
I'm calling this I'm calling this a pea green. That's what I'm calling it. It looks yellow on, it looks yellow on camera, but it's kind of like a yellow green. Anyway, whatever color it is, y'all are not going to see it next week.
we're only seeing the top, Nicole, so we don't know what's happening, you know.
I know, but Dr. Draper, I'm tall. Trust me, y'all gonna be like, she had it on last week, and somebody gonna be talking about me. So we're not gonna have that.
We know the problem. Thank you for that overview. And you know, the $100 registration is worth it. That's for all the brain trusts and a couple of the receptions, the Phoenix Awards, which is the signature dinner, and the prayer breakfast are separately ticketed, right?
They are separately ticketed, and unfortunately, the Phoenix dinner
sold out. Are they sold out?
It is sold out, but we still have plenty of tickets for the prayer breakfast, and the prayer breakfast is very reasonable. We have tickets as low as $75. And again, you're in the room with the members. You're going to hear Sister Leandria. You're going to hear Reverend Otis Moss. You are going to be really inspired.
You're going to hear from the Lord. The Lord going to show up. He going to come through.
I can't promise any of that, but I'll let you say that. But
I said it. If you having a prayer breakfast and the Lord don't show up, you just having breakfast. I'm just going to speak that to you. Now you can keep $75.
And we actually now call it the Day of Healing. Because it's called the Day of Healing, formerly known as the prayer breakfast. But content setup is similar to what folks have experienced in the past.
Absolutely. You just tuned in. This is the Chicken Box. It's lunchtime somewhere, it's dinner time somewhere, and it's breakfast time somewhere. But we are here. Maybe you're watching us on the replay, but we have Nicole, Austin-Hillery, the president and CEO of the CBCF, the Congressional Black Caucus, which they are gearing up for this week. This is their power week. This is the week that they plan for all year, and it's finally here. We just dragged her away from her busy schedule. She said she thought it not robbery to hang out with the Afro, which we have had a booth probably all 51 years of the caucus. And if you come into, is it still in the convention center?
It is still in the convention center.
Convention center.
Yes.
And I think is that free to come in the convention center or you still have to be registered now?
Well, if you register ahead of time, as I said, it's going to be somewhere around $100. But if you come to the convention center, there are some, you can still register on site at that de minimis amount. And, you know, and there are some other options available for folks that we're happy to discuss with them if they show up. We don't want to turn anyone away. So we're going to figure out how to make it happen for you, whether you're in person with us, whether we direct you to those virtual options. But we're going to work with folks because, again, this is about community.
Even if you're looking to get in front of some corporations, their representatives are going to be at their booths.
Absolutely.
You might be the perfect candidate for them. So that comes in your $100 too. You can get into that convention center with those hundreds of businesses.
Yes.
And sell yourself. That's
yes. We have amazing sponsors.
Come dressed. If you're looking for a job, come ready to work. So you can help volunteer that weekend. Say what you need to say to get the job when you come in the door.
Well, they can't volunteer with us that weekend, but you can.
No, not you. I'm just saying, like, for instance,
yeah,
you come out of Afro booth and you say you want to volunteer, and I say I got something for you to do.
Okay, sounds good.
I have some. Look for Impeccable on the floor at the convention center at the Afro booth, and I will have something for you to do. Courtney.
Yeah, I was going to say, Courtney, look, we're talking because all three of us have all experienced the Congressional Black Caucus weekend, Foundation weekend. So, Courtney, weigh in. Have you ever been? What do you know about it? What are you curious about? We have the expert here with Nicole, Austin-Hillery. Weigh in, Courtney.
I would love to attend. I have never attended, but that would be an amazing opportunity. So my question for you, if you can disclose, like what public figures will be attending?
Well, every member, Courtney, and please, Courtney, please come. Please come. We want you there. And I'm so glad we're focusing on Courtney right now. Sorry, Courtney, the spotlight's on you. But you talked about the generation that you represent. It is so important for us to bring in the next generation of leaders. When I hear people from your generation say, I've never been, I've never heard, I really want you all to be there. You all are the ones who are going to be running all of this. You all are going to be the next president and CEOs of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. You all are going to be the next Congresswoman Terry Sewell from Alabama. You all are going to be the next chairperson of the Ways and Means committees. We need you all in the room. So please come out. We want to hear your voices. We want to hear your criticisms, your suggestions, your recommendations. As I tell my staff all the time, I'm all about truth telling, respectful truth telling, but I'm all about truth telling. We need to know what we can do to provide the next generation with the resources and the tools they need. So that's my first thing. So please be there. But second, in terms of the people you're going to meet, first of all, every member of the Congressional Black Caucus will be there at their own brain trust, at the different receptions, at the town hall meeting, at the voting rights panel. They are going to be in the room. So just like Dr. Draper said, the people who are the decision makers, who are the power brokers on Capitol Hill, they will be there. That's number one. Number two, the people who are on the panels are the nation's foremost experts on the issues of the day. So when you go to the voting rights panel, for instance, you're going to be seeing and hearing from the nation's premier voting rights lawyers or the heads of the nation's premier civil rights organizations that are fighting on behalf of civil rights. If you go to the criminal justice panels, you're going to hear from those experts who are working on the policies that are being pushed to change what criminal justice reform looks like in the United States. And I will tell you all, before I became the president and CEO of the CBCF, that had been my experience. I had been one of those policy experts on panels for years. I had been on panels on criminal justice. I had been on panels on voting rights. You're going to hear from those people who are making the changes, helping to draft the legislation that they're recommending to members of Congress to create the kind of change we need and want in our communities. And then finally, when it comes to the social events, we make sure we have the premier top-notch folks from around the country who we want to support in terms of our cultural and artistic community, Black community around the country. So you're going to get it all. You're going to get those experts. You're going to get the power brokers in terms of legislators. You're going to get those premier cultural entertainers. But you also are going to get, as Impeccable said, access to our business leaders, those folks who are movers and shakers, who are helping to develop and run companies across the United States, Black Americans who are in very, very significant roles in these large corporations and nonprofit organizations. You are going to have your pick. And we want to encourage our young people to not be shy, to be in these spaces. Talk to these individuals about your ideas, about what you think the future should look like and how you can get involved. So if your generation, Courtney, is not in the room, I don't know where we will be, because you all will be the ones in charge of all of this sooner than we might realize. I said to somebody recently, I said, I remember I used to be a young leader. I think maybe I'm still kind of a youngish leader, but not so young anymore. And so it's you all, Courtney, that we're looking to.
Boom.
Absolutely.
Machiavelli said, will it be in Florida? No, it is in DC every year. So was it the same week pretty much?
It is not always the same week.
Not always the same week. The week
it's later this year than it has ever been. And that's because of COVID and us getting back in person. But it is always in September. Always in September.
I'm going to put in the chat also, for those who don't know, the members of the site I was just scrolling through. So you might have somebody in the area that you didn't know was a member of the CBC. And they represent your state and your interests. And click on it, check it out. Look at our new power brokers who are helping fight for policies.
Yeah. And Impeccable. And I need to point out, just as some examples, folks know Congresswoman Maxine Waters. You all remember I have a magnet on my refrigerator. I will not yield my time. We know she's the chairperson of one of the most powerful committees in the House of Representatives. She will be there. We all have been watching very diligently and in a very focused way the January 6th committee hearings. Congressman Benny Thompson, who is a member of the Congressional Black Caucus, who is the chair of that very important committee, is going to be in the place. These are the folks that you might be sitting in your living rooms watching them and seeing the work that they do in Washington. But this is your opportunity to hear from them, to see them up close, and to talk to them about the work they are doing. They are on Capitol Hill for you, to help, again, make this democracy stronger and work more effectively for you. So this is your opportunity to be here with them and be up close, and to be in community with them.
Absolutely. If you just tuned in, we're here, the Chicken Box. We're talking to Nicole, Austin-Hillery. We're talking about the CBCF weekend. We're talking about this next week, people. We're talking about $100 registration for the 28th through the 2nd, right?
Exactly.
Two events that are a little bit separate, but that's the prayer breakfast and that's the dinner on Saturday, which, you know, it's a little bit extra expenses, but if you got your black tie, or you just looking for a reason to dress up and you want a place to go with some really amazing Black people, you have to go to Saturday's event. It's
sold out.
Oh, it's sold out. Okay, you're not going to that.
It's sold out. It's sold out. But still, look, you can still dress up and be in and around. You can be in and around.
You know, that's what they do. They, like they said earlier, they dress up and they just be in and around. You know, the lounges and the lobby areas, the bar areas. You never know who's going to stumble in the room. That's all I'm saying.
You don't. And again, those are not my events, but I encourage people to just be in community. Be in community.
Hey, we out this year. Like, it's like people are so happy to get out. They are just out. If you're not vaccinated, you shouldn't come out. I'm just saying it like that.
We want to keep you
safe. Not for us. It's for you.
Yes.
It's for you. It's more for you than it is for us that are vaccinated. Anyway, that's a whole nother chicken box. Dr. Draper, jump in.
Well, you know, I was flipping through the website earlier, and I saw I think this is a brain trust workshop on algorithmic racism.
Bias.
Yeah. So can you say something about that a little bit? What that means? I mean, that's a big word. But
algorithmic.
Algorithm. So algorithm, we know it's about numbers. It's about how do we use numbers to chart, if you will, patterns, chart practices. And we know that there are lots of entities and agencies that use algorithms to determine how people will behave. It's really a way to think about ahead of time trends and behaviors. And oftentimes, policy decisions are made based on algorithmic data. So I'll just give you one example. If there were a social scientist who worked for a company that made tents, and they said, we want to be able to figure out how many people are going to buy the tents that our company makes. And we also want to break that down into not only looking at how many people buy our tents, but how many of the people who buy our tents are from one racial group versus another. How many of the people who buy our tents make this amount of money versus another amount of money? How many people who buy our tents live in the West Coast versus the East Coast? That's how you use algorithms. It's numerical data that helps you to make determinations about patterns of behavior. Now, what we're seeing happen, so I gave you that very simplistic example, but what we have been seeing happening is that there are companies and agencies and organizations that use algorithmic data to make predictions that have a disparate impact on Black communities. So for instance, there may be companies that use algorithmic data to say, we think a certain portion of the Black community is going to be more apt to commit crimes versus another community. And then they will put policies in place based on the conclusions drawn from that algorithmic data. So if that algorithmic data says, we think a certain portion of the Black community is going to commit more crimes, therefore we're going to put some policies and procedures in place that we think are going to prevent those folks from committing crimes. But what we know is that oftentimes those decisions are made in a biased way so that it's harmful to our community. So that's why it's important for people to be in rooms and to be part of discussions where we are talking about algorithmic data, because it sounds fancy and flowery, but really what it is, it's about companies and entities and sometimes research institutions that are using data and numbers to predict behavior and patterns for certain communities. And when algorithmic data is used properly, it can really do good. It is often helpful. for organizations and entities to know what the behaviors of communities will be. But if you take that information and you use it in a way that's harmful to that community, that's when you have a disparity. That's when you possibly have discrimination, and that's when you have a problem. So that's why a subject matter such as algorithmic data and bias and use of that data, Dr. Draper, is on the agenda and is so critically important for our discussions next week.
I jump in right there. I see, like, in certain areas. I'm in Atlanta right now, and it'll be certain places where they won't put like a Kroger or a Publix based on that algorithmic bias. Sometimes you wonder why this area doesn't have a chain grocery store or a chain CVS. Or if you look at your Apple stores and your Cheesecake Factories, they are always all in the same areas.
Yes.
It's in the upper middle class area of town. And I don't know if that's biased to them or it's their business model, but some of I guess some people can say it's their business and they can do what they want with it. But then on the other hand, we can say, hey, you're really just taking these numbers and based on this algorithmic bias, deciding not to do X, Y, and Z in our community.
And Impeccable, that I love the example you gave. If decisions are made, for instance, about where to put grocery stores, if there aren't enough grocery stores in certain communities, then we're creating food deserts, for instance. And we know those are problems in Black and Brown communities. So that's why it's important for people to be in these rooms, to learn about these policies, these procedures, these techniques, these methodologies that are being used all across the country, learn and understand how they're impacting the Black community, and then walk away with tools to help you figure out, well, what do we need to do to guard against any of these problems? Or how can we as a community get engaged so that we are working with the organizations and entities that are using this data? How can we work with them and encourage them so that it is used in a more positive way on behalf of our communities?
And how can we use it for ourselves so that we can build up our own businesses?
Yes.
And things of that nature. Wow, the time is going. We got 13 minutes left. Thank you, Craig, Jewel, Yolanda, look at Machiavelli, whoever. Just put in the chat. Sometimes you just listen and you don't say hello. When you say hello, we say hello back. And we're glad to see your comment, and we know that you're part of the conversation. We're talking about the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, which is different from the Congressional Black Caucus.
Exactly.
Membership, which two separate entities, but they work together, moving in the same direction. That's what this week is about. It's about the brain trust. It's about this present generation, but more the future generation, the Gen Z and beyond, because somebody had to always push that next generation forward in order for us to be in the 51 years. And so, of course, we say the same thing at the Afro. Someone had to reach out to this present generation to get up to 130 years. And so we applaud you for the work that you're doing and that you keep doing. And all right, y'all, give a clap, hand clap, something. Anyway.
I applaud you all. That history is amazing. We've been around 51 years. This is our 51st. Our dinner and ALC. This is our 51st. But you all have been going 100 plus strong. And so we applaud you. And thank you for being there for all of us.
Courtney, any questions that are burning besides how did you get there?
Courtney's in Chicago, but that's not far away.
No.
So I do have one question for you. So how can people give back and help contribute to CBCF?
That's a great question, Courtney. We could not do the work that we do if we did not have an amazing set of sponsors and contributors. We have, of course, large organizations, corporations, and foundations that support us. Just for instance, Amazon is the key sponsor of this upcoming annual legislative conference. And these are organizations that believe in our mission and support our mission. So if you are at an organization, a company that is involved in philanthropy, please go to your philanthropic folks and say, have you looked at the CBCF? I think this is a place where we should be investing in the future. So that is one way. The second way is individuals. And we welcome individuals who want to support the CBCF. Look, I've been listening to my local public radio station all this week do their fall fundraising drive, and I applaud them. They do amazing, important work. But I also implore people to invest in the future of Black America, invest in the thought leadership, in the leadership development, in the research and the data that's going to be useful to you and your community. So we encourage people to be individual donors to support the CBCF. We also encourage folks, thirdly, to come out and take part in the events and the activities that we hold. Again, the ALC is the culmination. It's the pivotal event that we hold every year, if you will. But as I said, in my role as president and CEO, which I've just joined the CBCF for this amazingly important role in February of this year. And when people ask me about my vision, what I tell them is my vision is to make sure that people know it's not just about what we do in September. It's about us being with you and being a resource with you and for you throughout the year. So when you see that we are having sessions online that are virtual that you can take part in, where we'll be talking about important issues that are crucial to your community, take part in those. When we are doing community conversations around the country, we just did one in Detroit. We're doing one on Black Washington and how Black Washingtonians are faring in the future of Black Washington. We're doing that during the ALC. So if you are here with us, you will be able to take part in that community conversation on the 28th. Then we're going to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma in December, having a community conversation with the folks on the ground there, talking about reparative justice, talking about reparations, and the aftermath of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre, which 101 years later is still having a grave impact on that community. That's how we are going to be engaged with you. And so we want you to come out. We want you to be a part of us. But we also have other activities throughout the year. We have an annual scholarship golf classic for people to be engaged in, which again helps to support our Leadership Institute. So you should be coming to our website, cbcfinc.org, often and regularly, so that you can be attuned to what we are doing. But you're also going to see me out and about talking to you all throughout the year. You're going to see people on our team talking to you out and about throughout the year. I don't want people to think we are some foundation on the hill. And when I say on the hill, I don't mean Capitol Hill. I just mean kind of, to the side that you don't have access to. We are about the people. We are about leadership development. We are about educating the Black community. And that's how you can support us and be a part of us 365 days a year.
Boom. So quick question. What's the process to see how long is the CEO's tenure?
There is no ceiling on the tenure. Okay. I'm going to be here as long as they will have me and as long as I can have an impact. I've always said to people in my career, this is only, I think, my fourth job out of law school. And I've been a lawyer for 20 some years. I only ever go somewhere where I feel like I can make a difference. I pride myself on trying to use my talents and gifts to be a change maker on behalf of the Black community. And that is why I am here. That's why our board, when they hired me, said they wanted me here. And I'm going to be here as long as they want me and as long as I think I can make a difference in our community.
All right. That was just a question. Not that I want to run for presidency. Now, Courtney might, and one of Courtney's generations might be thinking about it. Definitely not thinking about another nothing.
So I have a quick question, and I think I know the answer, but I want to make sure. Can people become a member of the CBCF like they do with NAACP or the Urban League? I know people can contribute. So thank you, Courtney, for that question. But can they actually sign up to be a member?
No, we are not a membership organization. Okay. Such as the NAACP or the ACLU or those other organizations. They have a different focus and they use membership in a different way. But you certainly can sign up to get newsletters from us, to get our information, to get access to that research. You don't have to be a member to benefit from the work that we do.
Okay. How often does your newsletter come out? How often?
Well, we have different newsletters.
Okay.
We have quarterly ones that come out, but then we have certain other things that come out on behalf of the Center for Policy Analysis and Research that's going to give you information on the research that our fellows are doing and the reports that are coming out. So if you sign up, we can make sure that you get a little bit of everything that we're doing.
Thank you so much. And speaking of signing up, so we're going to sign up for our CBCF newsletters. We hope that our viewers will sign up. That's right, Kevin, for Impeccable, for the Afro newsletters, which no cost for that. But we are a business. And so this is our 130th birthday. We've said that about 3 times. And our gift to you, 2 years for $130 because we're 130 years old. That means that we are absorbing, you can tell that from that, some of the postal costs. This will give you both the print and the digital edition. So somebody might say, well, you know what? I just want my news like this on my phone. That's fine. Give your print edition to somebody else. You can gift it, but you get both the print and the digital, or we can gift it for you for $130. That's 104 issues for $130, as well as the digital edition. And that's only through through next week. It expires September 30th. So we hope those who have not yet signed up will actually go to afro.com and sign up.
All right.
I'm off the box about that.
Was that your box? That's your box experience?
Yeah, okay. That's my box. It's 1256. That's my box.
Going to you on the box. Final words for the CBCF.
Sure thing.
This week's show.
Nicole, thank you so much for joining us today. I love your mission to inform and educate. I feel like I learned so much, and I do agree. Gen Z, my generation, they need to come out and support, and we are the future. So I think we should show up in numbers, and I think it is important for us to sorry.
You're fine, Courtney.
Okay. Yeah, I think it is important for us to continue to support, and every generation, just not Gen Z. I think that the work that you're doing is important for the Black community, and thank you again for doing that.
Thank you, Courtney. As Ronnie Laws said, for those old school folks, every generation.
Go pull out Ronnie Laws on you.
I'm pulling out Ronnie Laws. So, but no, Courtney, thank you. This has been my distinct honor and privilege to be here with you all. Thank you all for even giving me space and giving the CBCF space to talk to the community about the upcoming ALC, but not just about ALC, but about the foundation and who we are and how we are trying to show up on behalf of the Black community. And thank you all for everything that you are doing to uplift and
I'm gonna slide the box under you now, because so you can really, so in case you need to hammer something home that you really. But before that, I'm gonna step up on the box real quick and say, look, I'm gonna be there. You should be there. It's Black excellence at its all-time high level. You're going to be educated. You're going to have fantastic entertainment, and you're going to network like you've never networked before. And it's going to be cool, or you're going to look cool. Look at that word. Same word. You never look at the word cool with a K again the same way. But it's going to be an amazing time. The Afro is going to be there. Nicole's going to be there. If we see you in the hallway, don't act like, don't act bougie now, Nicole. We're going to be looking for you.
Impeccable. Look, I'm a project kid. Okay? I grew up in the projects. That's who I always am. I don't know what it is to be. Well, I shouldn't say I don't know what it is to be bougie. My friends, they used to joke and say, you were the bougiest kid in the projects, but whatever. Whatever. I always remember who I am, where I came from, and I want everyone to please say hello. As I've been saying throughout, we are in community together. There are no titles, there are no positions.
So you're on the box. Anything that you want to say that you've been dying to say to somebody, and the press won't never let you say it, hit. Now's the time.
I want to say this. Please know that everything that we are doing at the foundation is about the people. It is about the people. It's not about a party. It's about the people. Those brain trusts, those sessions, the Leadership Institute, the research that we do. It is about the people, and it is about our people, the Black community. Please, please don't let this slip by you. Don't let the ALC, this opportunity for you to help be a change maker, slip by you. But more importantly, do not go to sleep on the resource that the CBCF can be to you and your community. We are here. We exist solely for the purpose of empowering the Black community. And those are not just words in a mission statement. They are truly what we live, breathe, eat, and sleep. We want our communities to be better. We want them to be more powerful. We want our voices to be heard. And we, frankly, want to make sure that our community has every opportunity for greatness in this country. It's what the United States promised to us when this country was founded. It's the bill that is owed, and it is what we want to ensure everyone has. So please, please support the CBCF, be a part of us, and let us be a part of you.
Until then, go register, $100 or more if you want to get, Black Carpet Sexy on Saturday. Oh, it's sold out. I forgot. I keep wanting to come to that event for some reason.
But there are other things. If they go to the website, Impeccable, they're going to see plenty of other things that they can come to.
Plenty, but that $100 is going to get you in a lot. So go register today. It's next week. Come to DC and experience everything that's going on in the city and smile, and always call your seniors. They are lonely at home. They might, not all of them, but I'm saying the ones that nobody else is calling, they're going to be so happy to hear from you. So give them a call and tell them you love them today, because tomorrow is not promised. Until next time, God willing, we will see you on the Chicken Box. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Dr. Draper. Thank you, Lisa, our producer, and thank you, Courtney. And now it's time for me to get, I want a grilled chicken box. And until next week, have a great day. Well, I'm going to be in DC. I'm not doing no chicken box next week. And we're going to be working. We might do it live from the Congressional Black Caucus. We can find the right room and the right internet speed. All right. Thank you very much. Have a great afternoon and day.
Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you.
All right. All right, Nicole. Thanks again for jumping